You are now muted.
Good day, everyone. My name is Stuart Fisher, and I'm a Communities Coordinator here at ASUG. I'd like to welcome you to the ASUG webcast, Functions and Benefits of the SAP Supply Chain Execution Suite, and thank you for participating today. A few announcements before we get started. Look for information on upcoming events in your personalized ASUG newsletters. We now have a streamlined process where we send out 2 communications a week. On Monday is the webcast newsletter, and then each Wednesday is the chapter and local meetings and events newsletter. There's still time to register for ASUG Annual Conference, June 3rd through the 5th in Orlando, Florida. Come check us out in the ASUG Hub. And also, save the date for ASUG SAP Analytics and Business Objects Conference, September 22nd through the 24th at the Omni Fort Worth in Fort Worth, Texas. A few housekeeping notes to keep in mind. All participants' lines are currently on mute. However, we would like to make sure that participants are asking their questions throughout the webcast. If you do have a question, please type it in the chat in the lower right corner of your screen. I'll also be taking questions over the phone line if you'd like to ask them out loud after the presentation. I will come back on and give directions on how to ask questions over the phone line. Today's webcast is being recorded, and the recording will be sent out to all registrants and posted to asug.com. I'd now like to turn it over to Sylvie Mark, our presenter for the day.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Stuart. It's my pleasure to introduce this webinar, which is about the function and benefits of the SAP Supply Chain Execution Suite. I am Sylvie Mark, in charge of business development for Western Aher, and I'm going to do the introduction and then pass it to my colleague, Benjamin Reich, who will introduce himself. So after this introduction from ASUG, let's get into the agenda. The agenda, after a brief introduction, is an overview of our expertise in supply chain management, as we are a partner of SAP. And then Benjamin will take over to comment the supply chain execution platform overview, the transport and logistic coverage with a focus on transportation management and the integrated features, with also getting into the details of the last version of transportation management 9.1 with different information about the cockpit and integrated analytics. Also regarding the different analytics, Benjamin will get into the demonstration of the system, and then we will conclude with our contact information. So the mission of Western Aher is basically to guide our customers. We want to make sure that we bring value to them, and in order to do that, how we do it is that we basically start to work on the business processes. This is our approach all the time, going from the business process to the organization and the IT strategy before we get into the solutions. So this is the way we bring value to our customers. Western Aher is a company that has been in business since 1969, so basically 3 years older than SAP. That was started by the Dr. Western Aher. So we are today a consulting firm that is focusing on bridging the gap between process, strategy, and IT solutions. We are headquartered in Germany with about 500 consultants in the world. All the consultants are owners of Western Aher, so we have all shareholders are our consultants, and we are a partner of SAP since '94, delivering services, implementing SAP solutions, but also being a technology partner, developing solutions with SAP. We are present in 9 countries with 11 offices. So what is really unique is that our expertise is regarding all the supply chain solutions end-to-end. So our knowledge is going from the planning to the operation and the analysis and monitoring of all supply chain cycle. And that means that for every step, when it comes to a solution, of course, we are expert in implementing these SAP solutions. So this is an overview of clients organized by industries. So I just give you a quick overview of some of the logos that are, we have been working with these companies for usually a very long time and establish, I would say, really strong relationships with these clients. Here I'm focusing a little bit on the transportation management team, which today counts 22 consultants. And clearly Benjamin is one of the senior consultants and directors. You can see that these 22 consultants have different expertise and come from companies where they implemented some of the transportation management solutions, and of course today are implementing SAP solutions with different clients, such as, for example, DHL, or Panalpina, Volkswagen, etc. And our expertise is based on a very deep knowledge, because clearly Westernacher has and owns the SAP TM system, and Benjamin will show you that system and get into the system. We own these solutions, we implement them, and we are able to, I would say, allow prospects to test them with Sandbox or other proof of concept or other way to test the system to estimate the benefits before you go in a full implementation. So Benjamin, I hand the hand to you, and I think you have access to the slides now. That's correct?
That's correct. Thanks a lot, Sylvie, for the introduction. Hello to everybody.
Benjamin?
My name is Benjamin Rich. Yeah, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Benjamin.
So, thanks a lot, Sylvie, for the introduction. Can you hear me, guys? And I can start. Perfect. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Sylvie, for the introduction. My name is Benjamin Rich. I'm working for Westernacher since 2 months now. I'm doing consultancy within transportation and logistics since almost 4 years now. I worked for a lot of big customers like Porsche and Volkswagen in the past. My last project was for DHL Global Forwarding, where we had a huge transportation management project all over the world, where we implemented SAP 8.1, the previous version. Currently, we are in release 9.0, and today I want to give you, first of all, a theoretical overview about the supply chain execution platform provided by SAP, and I think after half an hour we switch in the system. I had a discussion previously with Sylvie to show you a video, but honestly, I try to do a live demo directly in the system. If that doesn't work, we switch to the backup video. So, supply chain execution platform. As it's written on the slides, distribution and transportation logistics is, in our days, a very complex business. On the one hand, you have the shipper who wants to ship goods from A to B. You have the consignees that receive freight or goods. In between, you have freight forwarders who has to organize the transport or the transportation process, and you have the carriers that execute the transportation process. So lots of different parties involved in the transportation process and a lot of requirements that are in place. Most important, of course, for all the industries are the costs. In the past, the major focus was on the normal supply chain costs within companies, within production logistics, but more and more it comes to the point that the transportation costs need to be considered. Transparency is also a very important requirement and necessary in our daily business to have a good overview about the whole transportation process. Reliability, flexibility, all these points written in that slide are important and need to be considered when we're talking about a transportation end-to-end solution. Customer service, also a very important point, especially for logistics service providers. I think today we have more shippers dialed in, so I try to focus a bit more on the shipper side. Compliance, also an important topic. Sustainability, green logistics becomes more and more a huge topic. Foreign trade and customs. So all these points need to be considered when we talk about an end-to-end solution. And what SAP did, they started, let's say, around about 10 years ago with Transportation Management 6.0. That was the first product coming from SAP ECC, and they developed it stage by stage, and now we are in release 9.1. That is very interesting. I will show you a few key features later on. What SAP did, they did a lot of customer projects within different industries and learn from that industries and try to develop a perfect product. And we can say in the last 2 years it increased to the highest level we can get. So to have a combined view for shippers, consignees, as well as for freight forwarders and carriers, SAP Transportation Management is a module that can be used for order management, for transportation planning, for transportation execution, and also for freight settlement. In between, for having the warehouse management system that coordinates the whole warehouse logistics, like the inbound processing, the storage and operations, the outbound processing. And we have an event management in place. Sorry guys, there is a tone on the ear.
Yeah, I think that might have been the note.
To hear me?
Logging off. We can still hear you.
Go ahead. Okay. Thanks a lot. So the third product is SAP Event Management, very important for track and trace of freight. So if you want to see as a consignee where is my freight that is or was sent out by the shipper, you can use event management, log on a platform, for example, and see when the freight comes in and when it needs to be executed, as well as we have specific views for freight forwarders and carriers, but not too much detail on this.
This is David. Hey, Stuart, do you know how to resolve that tone that's beeping every 30 seconds?
It's a bit annoying.
Yeah. Let's see if we can correct that.
Oh, now it's silent. Not yet.
You are no longer muted. You are now muted.
Okay, I try to go on. Maybe someone can fix it in the meanwhile. I forgot one important system. This is the global trade system. Can be used for customs, for export declaration and import declaration. So SAP developed a whole logistics execution platform where you can plan, orchestrate, and execute the physical movement of goods. This is the first point. Now I'm jumping into transportation management. It was developed as a standalone product, so no ERP is needed, no CRM system is needed. It can be used standalone. So we have 4 different modules within the transportation management. We have the order management, we have the transportation planning, the transportation execution, and the freight settlement. From a shipper's point of view, if you are using an ERP system, you can have an ERP integration out of the box from order to cash to purchase to pay. If you are acting as a logistics service provider, you can have forwarding order creation, or you can transfer orders via EDI, and for example, via fax. There are different integration possibilities available. We have freight orders to book trucking services, for example. We have freight bookings available to book capacity on ships or on airplanes or do the complete carrier communication. We have personal work lists available within the system. I can show you later on the details where the users of the system get guided through the whole process that needs to be done and executed within the system. We have a schedule management where you are able to upload schedules from your ocean or air carriers, also of your trucks or from different trucking companies. We have a complete charge, rate, and service level management within the order management. I would say the main benefits of the order management is an efficient end-to-end order and process management, a high customer service level, and satisfaction management. We have a very easy integration of SAP Transportation Management with other SAP applications. So the first model would be the order management, what I want to show you later on in the system. The next module is the transportation planning. We differentiate between manual and automatic planning. Manual means that a person, maybe a transportation planner, plans freight on trucks, on ships, on airplanes, wherever you can plan freight. Automatic planning means that the system plans for you. You can have different scenarios and different pre-customized scenarios where the system searches for you the most, let's say, the most cheap route, the most efficient route, whatever you can think about. There's also a possibility to have the complete routing, resource, and carrier selection available. We can tender freight. That would be a very important point that can be done automatically by the system. That, for example, a request for quotation gets sent out to your carrier, the carrier answers, or maybe uses SAP provides different apps for tendering. The trucker receives a message on his mobile device, accepts the request, and then you see the tendering finished in the system. We have the possibility to do pre-bookings. If you arrange bookings with air and ocean carriers, you can reserve and book capacity on a shipment, can send out the reservation to the carrier can accept the reservation, and you have it back in the system as a planning object. Very important topic within the logistics service provider industry are service products. Service products that can be offered to customers, for example, special services that need to be executed within warehouses, special services that can be, for example, value-added services. We have a complete dangerous goods management within SAP TM, where we have kind of different dangerous goods classes available, and the system can check, okay, is it able to load freight A together with freight B on the same container. The main benefits within the transportation planning module is that we have a complete carrier collaboration portal available where the shipper as well as the carrier can work together closely on one centralized platform. We have a high cost reduction because you have the complete overview about the transportation process. We have improved operational performance as well based on system support. We have a very high level of automation and transparency from, let's say, order entry to the later on the settlement with the carrier or your customer. And in general, this is the main or the heart of transportation management. SAP does a lot of, let's say, communication in that way that the system can completely automatically plan all your freight movements from A to B. Within the next module, the transportation execution, we fulfill the complete logistics execution. We have a status monitoring. We have the visibility over the whole transportation process. For example, it's very similar when you order a package or when you order something from Amazon, and you get a link and log on a web-based portal and see, okay, the goods that I've requested are maybe in a specific hub or are already on the way to my hometown. This is very similar in TM. Then we have the complete printout documents available within SAP TM, like house area bill and master area bill, all the printouts that need to be available for transportation process. We have standard operating procedures. This is a quite new feature, also coming with TM 9.1, the newest release, where you get guided completely through the whole shipment process. SOPs are based on instructions where the user gets guided what needs to be done directly in the system. We have the complete discrepancy handling within TM, so it checks can goods be loaded together. And within the transportation execution, we have also a nice new feature in 9.1 where we have a load optimized 3D version where you can see, okay, I have to load different package types on a container or on a truck, and it gives you the complete 3D visualized version of the truck, how to load goods. Within the last block, the freight settlement block, we have the freight agreement management and the forwarding agreement management. The freight agreement management would be the contract between maybe a shipper and a carrier, or between a logistics service provider and the carrier. The forwarding agreement would be an agreement between a logistics service provider and its customer. Within the agreement, you normally have all the charge and tariffs available, all the rates maintained. So charge and tariff management as well is available. We have a ERP integration where we can send the calculated costs for a specific transport to SAP FICO, and we can do a check. We can have automatic credit and debit memos available within TM in combination with SAP ERP. Then we have an automated transportation charge calculation, depends how you set up the rates within the system, and we have a profitability analysis. This is just a small overview. The system can do many, many things more, but from this point of view, I think that's fine for the first moment. In addition, we have a lot of analytics and reporting functionalities available. You can combine transportation management with SAP BI, means business intelligence. Event management is a central point. It gets delivered directly with SAP TM, where you can track and trace the freight. We have the complete import and export management available, and combined with the SAP Global Trade System, we also have customs functionality available. Then document and output management, I mentioned already, and a lot of other integration and connectivity things. They also provided a lot of apps that can be used to execute, to overview the transportation process. SAP TM supports all mode of transports within the order management, the planning, the compliance, and within subcontracting things. We can do long haul trucking, we can do ocean as well as air, the differentiation between ocean LCL and FCL. We can do direct shipments back to back. In the meanwhile, in the new release, we are also able to cover most of the requirements within the railway business and also within the parcel and the express business. Truck distribution was one of the first functions that were available within SAP TM 8.0. So as you can see, all mode of transports are supported, and the system is ready to cover all logistic execution processes. Just very quickly for this slides, as I mentioned, event management, very important tool to track and trace freight. It's completely integrated with SAP TM, and also very flexible. It works like this: that you define the milestones that need to be tracked. If we consider a process from a shipper to a consignee, there can be different milestones that need to be reported by the carrier or by a logistics service provider. And this is flexible, configurable, especially for freight orders and freight bookings, means for domestic trucking and for main leg like air freight and ocean freight. So you can have the complete overview from the loading begin to later on the proof of delivery. Then we have a differentiation between expected and unexpected events. If the transportation process works fine, nobody cares about expected events, but it's important if something is going wrong within your supply chain. So the reporting functionality of unexpected events can be in different ways, that the users get an alert or get a pop-up or get an email that something is not going in the right way for a specific shipment. Therefore, we also have a so-called overdue event monitor, where all the events are shown that were reported as overdue. Everything is completely web-based. We have also a lot of mobile applications available, and SAP offers a wide range for these applications. Last product would be the Global Trade Services. Therefore, everything that is related to duties and taxes, customs, export and import classification, sanctioned party list screening, embargo check, everything is done with the Global Trade Service system. And there is a standard interface available between SAP TM and the Global Trade Service system. That orders that need to be fulfilled are linked directly to customs authorities, where all the custom stuff can be done automatically in the system. Just from a theoretical point of view, the different systems. Before I go to the system, just a small overview how a system landscape end-to-end can look like. At the left box, we have the CRM system, the Customer Relationship Management System, where you maybe do your whole sales process from contact to contract. At the left side, we have the ERP system, the ECC, for sales and purchasing and also for logistics. And there are different ways to get data transferred into transportation management. Normally, when we are thinking about a shipper, a sales order or purchase order is created in SAP ERP. Once the sales order is created and needs to be delivered, it gets automatically replicated in a so-called order-based transportation requirement within TM. The order-based transportation requirement shows all the order information or order-related data, like the source location and the destination location, and all the transportation-related data. Based on this order-based transportation requirement, the system builds freight units. And SAP created a new object called freight unit. What is a freight unit? A freight unit is the smallest piece for transportation. It can be predefined by each shipper. It can be a box, it can be a nail within a box, it can be a container. So the freight unit is the base for tracking goods and can be completely configured in the system. And based on a freight unit, you do the planning. And planning means reserving freight on airplanes or on ships, or booking domestic trucking. Once the planning is done, there is also a possibility to subcontract orders. via tendering functionality that is available. Subcontracting means I have an order from A to B, and this order needs to be executed by a carrier. And the system can do automatically a tendering, means sending out a message to 3 or 4 different carriers. Everything is predefined in the system, and if the carrier wants to do the shipment, he can accept, and then the planning is finalized. After planning and after subcontracting, normally you calculate the charges within the system, and then a freight settlement document is created. Once the freight settlement document is created, it can be transferred automatically to SAP FICO and creates a service entry sheet. Based on that, a purchase order, and then the billing is done within SAP ERP. In between of the transportation process, normally warehouses are in place, and within the new release of SAP TM 9.1, warehousing or SAP Extended Warehouse Management has a direct interface to transportation management. And this direct interface works in that way that based on your planning in TM, advanced shipping notification gets sent to the warehouse, and the warehouse knows, okay, warehousing inbound, I receive 6 containers with different goods within the next 2 days. So everything can be integrated end to end. As mentioned earlier, there's also customs functionality available within the GTS system for export-import documentation, for sanctioned party list screening, for compliance checks, and so on. I would say, yeah, we go to the 9.1 features and then we switch to the system. 9.1 is the newest release actually on the market. There are a lot of innovators available, especially HANA is a very big topic, like real-time reporting on database level that is possible with SAP HANA. Then strategic freight procurement, very important, where shippers can offer their transportation requests on the platform and the carriers can react on that request. The collaboration portal between carriers and shippers. We have strategic freight selling, that is very important for logistics service providers. We have load planning, vehicle scheduling and routing, where you can upload all the schedules that are coming from your carriers, or if you have own trucks available within your company, you can have the schedules of them available, and based on that schedules, you can be able to plan. Charge calculation was available earlier, but the focus was in the newest release to focus more on real-time charging. For example, in air freight scenarios where the rates changes maybe each day, there is a possibility where you can mass upload and change adjustment factors or change charge types and all this stuff. Focus topics, as I mentioned, within the newest release is rail, is partial, and a few enhancements for ocean that were not there at the very beginning. Also mentioned the extended warehouse management integration, the CRM integration, and the ERP integration that got enhanced. Just an overview how SAP TM can look like. All the details I show you in the system, but these are very nice functionalities. We have here different views of the transportation cockpit available, where you plan and manage your freight, where you can see all your pre-bookings, all the running shipments, and you can have a complete map integration where you can see, okay, from which country to which country goods need to be transported. You can plan based on this maps. Within SAP TM, we have two possibilities for analytics. Possibility one, you can see on the left side, is integrated directly in the system in SAP TM. There is a so-called business context viewer available, and on different points in the system, you are able to see analytics. You can see how the carrier performance is, maybe overdue shipments, maybe miscommunication with the carriers, and so on. Combined with SAP BI means business intelligence. You can have forecast analysis, historical demand, where you can just check different rates about different trade lanes, where you can check freight costs in different countries or from a global point of view, where you can check different carriers as well. And, for example, integrated reports coming from BI directly visible within SAP TM, where also a lot of analytics functionalities are available. There are a lot of pre-configured dashboards, means if you connect a SAP TM system with SAP BI, there are a lot of dashboards provided by SAP that are there. For example, as shown in this picture, extraction of analytics data. You see maybe different carriers at the bottom, the carrier performance, the costs, the source location, destination location for a specific trade lane, the weight and volume that was transported in the past, and also the different transportation modes like land, air, ocean, whatever you want to have is available in that pre-configured dashboard. Here another example where you can check the carrier performance or the carrier efficiency. We have 5 different carriers. We have the planned dates for different carriers, and the actual reported time means was the delay happening, or was everything going right within the process, and that is measured in the efficiency. And that is very important if you do freight procurement, or if you check the rates with the carriers. You normally do that based on historical data. So we check for the last 2 or 5 years the carrier performance as well as the rate development, and then try to get a better contract for the next years. So that was it from a theoretical point of view, very fast and very high level. Just a question in the round, if there are any questions so far. Otherwise, I would switch to the system, if David can give me the presenter right.
Stuart?
Hey, David. Can you just give me the presenter rights, please?
Yeah,
that I can show my screen.
Yeah, Stuart can do that, but I'm not sure. I would have expected him to have done that. Stuart?
Benjamin, you already have the presenter rights.
Okay. So he can start demonstrating?
Yes, if you go to share at the top, you will be able to share your desktop with the audience.
The bad thing is I can't see the button. Here it goes. Ta-da.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now we are directly in SAP TM. Perfect, you can see my screen. That's fine. We are directly in SAP TM. Everything is web-based. We call it the NetWeaver Business Client. Based on the Internet Explorer, can be used with different other explorers like Mozilla Firefox or Google Chrome. Every explorer can be used to execute SAP transportation management. And within SAP Transportation Management, there are a lot of functionalities available. I try to focus a bit more on the shipper functionalities, but I will also explain functionalities for logistics service providers. Normally, the process for a shipper starts in SAP ERP when a sales order or a purchase order gets created. And this sales and purchase order gets automatically integrated in SAP TM once it needs to be delivered. So we have a functionality that is called Overview Transportation Requirement, and you can see all orders that are coming from ERP. This is the so-called order-based transportation requirement, if you remember the point I mentioned at the beginning. So here you can see the overview of all incoming orders, different lifecycle status in execution and planning, whatever. In detail, I tell you in a few minutes. I just open one of the transportation requirements. And we go to the General Data tab. And then you have all the order details available. This order-based transportation requirement is coming from ERP, and the original order was a sales order, as you can see here on the top. There are different order types possible and customizable in the system, different service levels that can be predefined. We have also for each document within SAP TM, we have different lifecycle statuses. Different blocking reasons once an order gets blocked automatically by the system or manually by a user for different kind of reasons. We have the delivery priority. We have a check if order combination is allowed, means sales order A and B can be combined. And of course, we have all the data that is coming from SAP ERP, like the cross volume, the cross weight of the goods, and the net weight. Normally also, this is a bad example that I took, but that doesn't matter for that case. There's also the sales office, the sales organization, and the sales group available. Incoterms can be predefined and are available in the system, such like XWorks, DDP, Treehouse, Free on Board. All the Incoterms are available in the system. We go to the item hierarchy and just highlight a product. We can see all the details of the product. The product is relevant for transportation. There is a delivery relevance, what kind of goods that need to be transported. We have also the schedule line behind that is coming from ERP, where the earliest pickup date and the latest delivery date is mentioned. All the information like requested quantity, confirmed quantity, open quantity, cross volume, and so on. So this would be the starting document from a shipper's point of view. Means purchase order and sales order get replicated in SAP TM and are a starting object for transportation planning. When we see the document flow, you can see all the predecessor and successor business documents and normal SAP functionality. So the starting document was a sales order in ERP and got replicated to an order-based transportation requirement in transportation management. What the system automatically does, we have the product information on the item level, and the system automatically creates freight units. And the freight unit, as I mentioned, is the smallest piece of transportation. And you can see there the freight unit includes all the data that is coming from ERP, is the own TM object. And the main difference between the freight unit and the order-based transportation requirement is that the system automatically creates stages for that. So that the planner later on can see, okay, I have different stages. I have a pickup, I have a pre-carriage, I have a main leg, I have an on-carriage, and delivery that needs to be planned. So that's just for your information, the ERP logistics integration. Normally, within the LSP process, you start with a forwarding order. I can show you that as well. And open randomly the forwarding order. So forwarding order is mainly used for logistics service providers, or we from a consultant point of view recommend to use that from a logistics service provider view. And it's similar to OTR. We have an item level where we can have different products and packages available, where we can insert containers and different stuff, and where we have all the details about the goods that need to be transported. So then we go to the planning sector. The heart of TM, I would say, is the transportation cockpit. Once the orders are created, it doesn't matter if we are in a shipper scenario or in a logistics service provider scenario, we have the freight units available in the system. And the transportation cockpit is used for planning. It can have different views. It's completely flexible to configure how the screens can look like. Normally you do it that way, as I show you now. You have all the freight units that need to be planned for different stages. For example, I selected one freight unit that goes from loading location container freight station in Japan to container freight station in Los Angeles. On the right side, we have different freight bookings. This is an ocean freight scenario. We have different containers booked on different ships. And normally what we can do, if we have no clue how to plan a specific freight unit, the system can give us a transportation proposal. There is a functionality that is bad. I got a timeout. Just 1 second. So select again the freight unit and randomly booked capacity on a ship, and that's a transportation proposal. So what does the system in the background? The system has a lot of optimizer strategies behind and maintained. So it checks the best way to get from A to B. And it checks via costs, via durations, via distance, maybe also, if needed, via green logistics. And it gives us an offer how to transport goods from A to B. So you have the source location and the destination location. For the pickup stage, it's from the customer to a station, or can also be a warehouse. Then from the warehouse to the container freight station in Japan. From the container freight station in Japan to the container freight station in US. And as the on-carriage, from the container freight station in US to the container freight station, to the station or warehouse in Phoenix. So the system gives us the possibility to check for a proposal, and we can accept the route, and then everything is planned automatically. I got again kicked out. I'm sorry for that. So what else can we have within the transportation cockpit? We can have different schedules for maybe if we have own trucks that are the schedules for our own trucks, or trucks where we have the times and the locations available of different carriers. We can also plan freight units manually on a schedule. For example, you can just drag and drop and insert it on a schedule, and the system automatically plans based on the schedule. It doesn't work in that case because the earliest requested pickup date is already in the past, but that doesn't matter. Normally you would drag and drop the freight unit to a schedule, and then the system automatically plans the truck for that freight unit. In case of subcontracting, the system can also give us a carrier ranking, means it sends a request for quotation to the carrier accepts, and then automatically we have the chance that maybe a user selects the proposed carrier or the system selects it automatically. There is also a map integration available where you can see all the details on a map. It's also possible to plan directly in the map, that you can see all your freight that needs to be transported in different locations, and you can just assign it to pre-booked containers, to pre-booked trucks, or to your own trucks. So that was a very quick overview about the transportation cockpit. It's very flexible, and you can have a lot of optimization there. You have the complete overview about all your incoming and outgoing transportation. Just close it, and as a last step of the 4 modules I mentioned, order management, planning, execution, and as a last step, the settlement, I can show you how a settlement looks like. There's also a so-called work list available where you can see all the settlements that were created already. We have an overview about credit memos and debit memos as well. I just open randomly one. That was not a good example.
I just wanted to be mindful of time as we are approaching the top of the hour.
Yes, I just need half a minute and then I'm done. Thanks a lot for the information. So, within the forwarding settlement document, the system shows all calculated transportation charges. That is very important. You can have charge calculation per stage, per end-to-end transportation, and you can transfer that to SAP ERP. Here you see the total amount in document currency, and this can be transferred via save and transfer, and then the system automatically creates an invoice or billing document within ERP. So, David, from my side, I'm done.
Yeah, great.
I don't know
Thank
if
you,
we
Benjamin.
shall allow a few questions.
Yeah, Stuart, can you open the lines for?
Yes. If you would like to ask your question out loud over the phone line, you can do so by pressing *6 to unmute yourself. We already have a couple here in the chat, so I will start going through those. The first one is, will this allow shippers to bid on loads?
What was it? Can you repeat it?
Will this allow shippers to bid on loads?
To bid on loads? Yeah, normally it's made for this. Yeah, absolutely. Not only to bid on loads, it allows also shippers to work closely together with carriers or to dictate rates to carriers. Normally it works like this, that the shipper doesn't know the rates of the carrier and that the rates maybe are maintained on Excel sheets and everything is available on the system, and you can have the complete charge calculation. So you as a shipper know what you later should give to the carrier or what the carrier will charge you. So this is a very, very important thing, and it allows you, how can I say, not to trust on the carrier, more to control rates. Yeah. Hope this answers the question.
Okay, and then we have another one. Could shippers have access to the system through a web front end to see orders that we would want them to ship?
Yes, absolutely. Two possible ways. Normally, if a system is hosted by a logistics service provider, the service provider provides a portal where the shipper can log in. Or if a shipper hosts its own transportation management system, it can also provide a portal or a platform. The NetWeaver Business Client is completely flexible, configurable, and based on authorization, you can have a shipper authorization within transportation management, or you can have a carrier authorization that maybe 4 different parties can work within one system. This is the idea of SAP. So yes.
Okay. Do we have any other questions?
Sounds good. Thanks, Benjamin. That was very informative.
Oh, very welcome. It was very quick and very high level, but if there are a few more detailed questions, people can also mail to Sylvie, if that would be a good recommendation. But hello.
Hello, Benjamin. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
One question. The demonstration which you gave us, is it from 9.1 version or is it from 8.1?
No, it's from 9.1, but the view of this NetWeaver Business Client is from 8.1. There is a new cascading style sheet available. It's called the SAP Corbu theme that looks a bit different. If you remember my slides of the transportation cockpit within the PowerPoint presentation, it looked a bit different. But we have our own demo system within Westernacher, and we don't have the newest version of the NetWeaver Business Client for this demo system. But it looks different.
Okay, thanks, Benjamin. I think that's what I was wondering, because your slides look different from the actual demonstration screen. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely right, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Benjamin. No.
So, very welcome. If there are a few more, just get in contact with Sylvie. Right, Sylvie?
Sounds great. Thank you. Stuart?
Perfect. Then thanks, everybody, for listening, and have a nice day. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye now.
Yes, thank you. I would like to thank our presenters once again, Benjamin Rich and Sylvie Mark. And as mentioned earlier, the slides and recording link will be posted to the ASUG website and emailed to all of the registrants. Enjoy the rest of your day.